What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another predictions video here on the channel. UFC Fight Night, Dawson versus Green. Let's dive right into it. If you guys are new to the channel, smash that like button. Don't forget to comment throughout the live stream. If I don't get your comments right away, it's because we're just breaking down some of these fights, going through some of these predictions. I like to tackle them 2 or 3, then going back to the live chat. Hey, we're bringing back the prediction videos live, back by popular demand. You guys liked it when we did it live, so hey, we've been running them the last few weeks live, and no UFC last week, so it's good to get back into it here today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. UFC Fight Night, Dawson versus Green, and the first fight on the night, Montaña de la Rosa versus JJ Aldrich. By the way, stick around till the end of the video to hear our City Life Project Degenerate Parlay of the Week, brought to you by our friend Volcan in the chat. What's up, Foul One? Great to see you, Foul One of our exclusive members. All right, first fight on the card here. King James, what's going on, King James? Good to see you as well, buddy. Montaña de la Rosa, 12-8-1 as a pro up against JJ Aldrich. JJ Aldrich 12-6. Montaña de la Rosa, only 1 win in her last 5 fights. We'll see what happened there, but then 3 other losses. What's up, AJ's MMA? How's everybody doing? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. This one's an absolute pick'em at the time of this recording, at the time of this live stream here at -110 apiece. She's 28 years old, out of Texas. Let's take a look at her resume first here. How's everybody doing tonight, this Thursday night? We're almost there, folks. 1 more day till the weekend. And a great weekend to mixed martial arts. Glory, kickboxing, UFC's back. And this is an underrated card. I think we're going to see some good fights here. 1 KO, TKO, 8 submissions, 3 decisions, 5-4-1 in the UFC, 0-1 in the LFA. Lost to Tatiana Suarez. No shame in that. Lost Macy Barber as well. Beat Ariane Lipski. I mean, lost some decent opponents, but still doesn't look good as of late. She needs to get back into the win column. Again, we'll get back to the live chat here after we go through 2 or 3 matchups here, just so we have some order. And that's the cadence that we've been doing anyways on these streams. So if I miss one of your comments in real time, don't worry. We will get back to it. JJ Aldrich, like I said, 12-6. 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She did come off a good win in her last fight. Mind you, it wasn't against the best competition. It doesn't matter. It's true. It's true. But if Montaña de la Rosa becomes the underdog going into the fight, like on Saturday, not a bad dog there. Not a bad dog. But it's women's MMA, so don't break the bank on any of these fights, because they can be deceiving. They can be deceiving. She's an Elevation Fight Team, so a great camp. 3 KO, TKO, 0 submissions, 9 decisions, 8-5 in the UFC, 3-1 in Invicta. And like I said, her last win was against an opponent who's wasn't the greatest. She lost to Lipski, lost to Blanchfield, no shame in that. Jillian Robertson, good win. Demopoulos, a win. According to Casey, a win. Yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Both of them not great. Both of them not bad. And I'm going to go with Montaña de la Rosa. That is my pick, locking it in. I think she's going to submit her. I think she's going to submit JJ Aldrich. Underrated grappling by De La Rosa. She's a lot stronger and a little bit bigger, I think, as well. I think she could hold her own standing up with most of the fighters in her division, definitely against JJ Aldrich. I think she'll, exposed is too much of a stretch, but I think that's one of the holes in JJ Aldrich's game. So I think she will expose that, the ground game, the grappling. I just don't think they're at the same level. Aldrich's last one, like I said, was against some opponent. She does have good stand-up, but I think De La Rosa will likely submit her. So, yeah, in the first fight of the night, that is my pick. What's up, Shane? What's up, Nikolai? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, that's my pick. Montana De La Rosa to open this card. Let's move up the card here. Johnny Munoz against Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng, I should say. He's got a single name for a name. I love it. All right, let's start with Johnny Munoz here. 12-3 as a pro up against the Mongolian murderer. 24-11. Munoz 2-3 in his last 5. He's been kind of inconsistent. Lose one, win one, lose one, win one. He's 30 years of age, and this one's closing the betting odds as well. -105 against -115. What's up, Matt X? Good to see you as well. Let's take a look at Johnny Munoz's resume here. 2 KO, TKO, 7 submissions, 3 decisions, 2-3 in the UFC. An impressive 10-0 in King of the Cage between 2015 and 2019. They're solid regionals. Sean Strickland tore up King of the Cage. Lost to Daniel Santos. Daniel Santos is an absolute killer. Ludwig is not the greatest. Lost against Tony Gravely, 7-3. Jamie Simones. Lost to Nate Maness. I mean, his resume isn't super impressive, but 7-3, 9-2 for what it's worth. Although his resume is a lot better than the fighter himself in Ludwig. He's tough though. He's tough, Johnny Munoz. He wasn't able to be he didn't get put out in his last fight, and that impressed me. He's tough. He's durable. He's just kind of inconsistent. He hasn't put it all together. He's going up against a fellow 30-year-old, however, someone who's got more miles on him in the world of mixed martial arts in Aoriqileng, 24-11, and only 2-3 in his last 5 as well. 9 KO, TKO, 0 submission, 15 decision. This guy doesn't play the grappling game. 2-3 in the UFC, 13-4 in Wulin Fang, 2-3 in Chin Wu Men MMA Professional League, and 2-1 in Chinese Kung Fu Championship. Now, he's dangerous. He does have finishing ability. He can stand there and just brawl. He has, throughout his career, been pretty durable, but in his last loss to Zahabi, we saw that, okay, maybe the chin is starting to go. And I'm not taking anything away from Zahabi there. That was a beautiful left hook to put him down and then finish him with the ground strikes. But he is dangerous. Lost Cody Durden, Jeff Molina, but he was on an absolute crazy streak in Wunling Fang, which is a lesser regional scene. But again, China and just that area doesn't have the best regional shows. But he's got the Mongolian factor, dude. And the Mongolians have been ripping up MMA. Mind you, not necessarily in the UFC, but on the regional scenes anyways, this last year. So I have a tough time when the odds are this close going against the Mongolian. Man, they're both dangerous. Oh, come on, Tapology's really not agreeing with us. It's not my computer, by the way. That's all jumpy, by the way, folks. It's Tapology found a way around every ad block, and props to them. They're making money. It's just annoying to navigate. I'm going with the Mongolian Nightmare at -115. This was a tough fight to pick, as you probably could hear in my breakdown. Could realistically go either way. If Munoz is on that night, he has all the tools to win. I don't think he's necessarily going to get put out because I think he's durable. But that being said, like I said, the Mongolian murderer, he's dangerous. He's dangerous, and he has a lot more experience than that of Munoz. And he's tough as nails as well. I'm a little scared that he's more chinny than he's been in years past. Munoz, like I said, tough as hell, has a good chin. Is he overrated other than that? Other than his toughness? Because he just hasn't put it together regularly? I would say no. But again, I'm not confident enough to pick him. If he would have put together like a solid streak of consistent performances, then maybe I'd be more inclined to pick him here. That, and like I said, the Mongolians have been tearing it up in MMA as of late. I literally put that in my notes. Like I said, going with Aoriqileng. All right. We'll get back to your comments after this next fight, guys. Appreciate you. Again, I wish I could go back through every one, but we'd be here all night. We'd be here all night. We've tried that before. So after this rundown, we'll get back to the comments and interact a little bit before we move up the card. All right, we got Kanako Murata up against Vanessa Demopoulos. I always fuck up her name. Demopoulos. Thank you. I can handle the Thai names these days, but the Greek out of nowhere always throws me off. Training out of Denver, Colorado as well. She is the pretty big underdog on this one. 9-5 as a pro. Her opponent 12-2. Murata 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She hasn't been that active in the last few years, though. I think she has been nursing injury and just training or recovering from it. Not nursing, recovering from an injury and focusing on training. She's 30 years of age and like big favorite to win this one at -300. Let's take a look at her resume. Bounced around quite a few decent promotions. Fought in Deep, Ryzen, and now the UFC. 2 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, 6 decisions. 5-1 in Ryzen, 1-1 in the UFC, 2-0 and Invicta. Oh, she fought in Invicta as well. And beat a 10-9 gal in the UFC. Beat a 7-2 gal in Invicta. 4-2 in Ryzen. She was 8-1. 4-2 when she was 4-1. I like how when she was 3-0, she took a huge step up in competition to fight an 18-2 gal. Look, Rune could choke in the 3rd round, but like that's huge, and that's what you want to see as much, anyways, as you can from a regional fighter, and especially one who's under 5 professional fights at that time, anyways. She's just more experienced, man. She's just more experienced by the looks of it right off the bat. And again, I'm not impressed by your performance for the most part with Vanessa. A little monster. She's okay, I guess. She did go on a little 3-fight win streak there. 35 years of age. I didn't realize she was that old. Was it fighter by day, stripper by night, stripper by day, fighter by night? Exotic dancer, my apologies. 1 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, 4 decisions. 5-2 in the LFA, and she still like coaches fighters and is involved in that promotion, which is pretty cool. 3-2 in the UFC, 0-1 off Contender Series. Yeah, Karolina Kowalkiewicz messed her up in their last fight, guys. Messed her up, and she beat Maria Oliveira via decision. Maria Oliveira sucks. Jinyu Frey, not that great. I mean, not the best run of wins, to be perfectly honest. She lost to Corey McKenna, beat him with Godinez. 6-1 on the amateur scene. Tough enough as well. Love Tough Enough. Love how they do amateur fights as well. But yeah, I just think that the competition, you just look at who they've each faced. You look at the promotions that they fought in. Yeah, I got to go with Murata. Despite her time off, I think I'm going to go with Murata here. Way more experience, way better regional wins. Vanessa's just okay everywhere. I don't think she's good anywhere, if you know what I mean. She can wrestle and brawl, though, so I'll give her that. Murata's way more technical, way more tough, has fought in various good promotions, and she took time off and she like didn't sugarcoat this at all, to train, get better, and to recover from, I think she got banged up in the Jandiroba fight there, her last loss. Anyways, that's my pick. Let's get back to the comments for a little bit here, guys. Twerker by night. Damn, I have to stop supporting one. If you guys, I mean, it's because of the contracting, dude. I made a video on this like 3 months ago. This ain't news. This ain't news. You're attacking my family. What's up, son? MMA. AJ got knocked the F out. What's up, AJ? I'd be low-key pissed if Vanessa pulls it off. China regional scenes ain't really that good, with all due respect. No, I know. Even like the Japanese regional scene is better. I do like Wulin Fang though, because they're just a cool promotion in that they do have MMA, they do have kickboxing, kind of like what Ryzen does. Johnny Munoz got knocked out by versus Gravely and Shane. I dropped my picks on this card if you'd like to check them out. Morono's my underdog of the week. Yes, everyone go subscribe to Audjay's MMA YouTube channel, guys. Munoz is suspect chin. The Mongolian murder is a crazy name. I love it. And dude, again, like, I'm not super confident in that pick, but it's just one of those little things. And not every MMA YouTuber, not every guy or gal giving predictions, even yourself, is going to give that little tidbit that's, you know, I have a weird feeling. That based on the Mongolian fighters in 2023, in not only, and again, I didn't even note one in the UFC, but there's like 2 cats in one championship. There was one in Ryzen. There were 2 on the regional scene. I think 1 in Cage Fury FC, if I'm not mistaken. Literally a guy, Mongolian fighter. Yeah, then they've all been just kicking ass. So that was almost the tiebreaker. Who's getting slept? Between who? Yeah, guys, everyone go subscribe to Audjay's MMA YouTube channel. And Nikolai, it's great to see you, my man. Hope to see you on a ton of live streams this weekend. By the way, big shout out to everybody who stayed up and watched Ryzen with us last Sunday. Shane's doing good just off the treadmill. Hell yeah, Shane had a good workout last night. Doing good. By the way, sipping on one of the best pale ales I've ever had in my life. Shout out to Earth Rider Brewing for their coffee pale ale. Like I wish I could just drink this every morning. It's oh my god, it's good. It's so good, guys. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, especially if you're a coffee nut like myself. The contract was messed up 100%. They make UFC look super professional. Okay, that's a stretch. Making the UFC look super professional, that's a stretch. But oh yeah, I mean, and again, this isn't news. There was a story that came out about one contracts on the Lupini side of things, anyways, a few months ago as well. And you know, brand new fighters to the scene. Like some of them were making like 1,500 and 1,500, dude. You think Linz could be a good underdog? Crazy sign to one means that they own you and you get your brand until you die. And if you pull out, you get that time added back on your contract and a long clause, no negotiating, which is why no one's really leaving one to come to different promotions unless you're like staying in Asia. It's if you go to one championship, that's the end of your career. I mean, look at like the Brandon Veres of the world. I'm not saying I agree with it or not. No, see that this is the thing. Shotri was never the man. Shotri just was a little bit more polished, but like Shotri, I mean, he lies through his teeth just as much as Dana White. Like, now maybe him and his significant other have a better relationship. That's not in the public. Dana has to concede to that little thread, but no, when it comes to when it comes to contracts, when it comes to playing hardball, no, Shotri's just like every other big promoter, man. Any chances of Ricky Glenn getting it done on verdict? He is a 9-1 dog, which is insane. Before we get to the rundown, I'll say I'm not confident. I would hold Shotri. Yeah, Glenn looks so bad in his last fight. The Authorized stuff looks wicked. Yeah, it's a cool little brewery right on Lake Superior. It's actually on the Wisconsin side of the bridge. The brewery, like the tap room itself, is like little dive bar vibes, and then there's a piece of land right on the lake between their actual brew facility, and it's awesome. I've met the people there. I've been there before, and my buddy was there he was up in Duluth, Minnesota, and in Superior just last weekend. So they don't distribute this one, unfortunately. So you only can get it at the tap room. Nobody can leave. Fighter conditions literally the best at Bellator. It's true, right? It's true. These guys are promoters for a reason. Like Bisping said, they can sell they can sell sand to an Arab. I got some beers for us to drink when you're here. Nice, Shane. I'm going to try to bring some back as well. Ngannou not being given any respect by the boxing community at all. And you know what? If he... And within... And for good reason, Matt X, if you're going to post trash clips like that, where I'm not even a boxing fan and I'm looking at that going, oof, Logan Paul looks better than you. Unless Ngannou's trolling, unless he's, you know... what's the term? Playing possum on social media? Playing dumb? So that there's no expectations? If not, if that's for real, then he deserves the criticism because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. All right. Keep the comments coming, guys. If I miss them, we'll get back to them in a moment here. But let's highlight the next few fights on this card. And if you're rewatching this, timestamps everywhere in the comments and in the description of the video. All right, next fight, Nate Maness against Mateus Mendonça. And man, I'm excited for this one. I feel bad for Nate Maness though, because it's like I've never hated Nate Maness, but there's always been flashes of greatness, and he just never's really reached that point. Like he's had really good looks, he's had really bad looks. And I was hoping after his last two losses, that okay, like he'd come back strong. And I think he is going to come back strong, but his opponent, I'm just going to say, his opponent's a motherfucker, dude. Like, this Brazilian is nasty. But before we get into talking about him, let's talk about Nate Maness here. 14-3 as a pro. Not a bad resume. Not a bad record. 3-2, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He is the underdog at plus 220, 32 years of age, out of Kentucky. Come on, Tapology. 5 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 6 decisions, 3-2 in the UFC, 4-0 in HRMMA, and 2-1 in TKO. Shout out TKO. Lost his last fight to Ulian Bekov, and he did not look good in that one. Before then, lost to Umar Nurmagomedov via decision. So, I mean, honestly, credit to him for going the distance with Umar. Before them was on a pretty good win streak here. His last fight against Kelly Van Camp, who's 3-2 and 10-1. But then he came to the UFC and beat a Johnny Munoz, 10-0. Beat a 13-3 Luke Sanders, a vet and Tony Gravely. So honestly, his UFC run has not been bad. Like I said, I was actually really stoked for him that he faced Umar. And then he really didn't look good against Tagir. And oh my goodness, is his next opponent if anything, a step up? No, it's not a step up from Umar, because Umar's sick. But man, this 24-year-old is something special. 10-1 as a pro. He did lose his last fight. Before then was undefeated. He's in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Trains at a shoot box. Diego Lima. 3 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 3 decisions. He has never been finished. He's 0-1 in the UFC. His only loss is to Javid Bashrat, who is a damn good prospect in the UFC, and even then he took him to decision. Beautiful win on Contender Series. First round finish. Beat a 21-5 guy in Future MMA. 4-1 guy when he was 6-0. 7-1 guy when he's 5-0. What's up, Jack Johnson? Love me some Bobby Green. Let's go, baby. Vote the poll question as well. We'll get back to the comments after we highlight just a few of the fights here, folks. We will get back to just some total interaction back and forth time here as well. Don't forget to smash that like button and vote in the poll question. But yeah, his resume is good. His fight on Contender Series was nasty. And he went the distance against Javid Bashrat in a fight that was, honestly, I was like, oh, Javid Bashrat, he's going to walk through everybody, every like first time UFC guy. And I was like, damn, this guy's the real deal. And there's just levels to this, man. There's just levels to this. Yeah, I'm going Mendonça. Maness is not bad. So like, hey, at plus 220, I wouldn't sprinkle a little something, even a half, I wouldn't do it. It's not the worst. For this card in particular, it's not the worst. But Mendonça's just, like I said, he's a motherfucker, dude. He's so good. I think this likely is a decision loss for Maness. But man, Mendonça could put him out too. Mendonça could put him out. There's not much else to say. This Brazilian out of Shooter Box is sick. I'm interested to see if he goes full Super Saiyan with the dyed hair like the rest of his camp. All right, moving up the card. And again, we'll get back to the comments after this matchup. Karolina Kowalkiewicz against Diana Belbiţă. Now, Diana Belbiţă trains out of Ontario, Canada, if I'm not mistaken. She's from Romania, up against the resurging Karolina Kowalkiewicz. 15-7 for Karolina. She's on a 3-fight win streak, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's the favorite, minus 190. 37 years of age. She's had a long career. Kickboxing and in the UFC. She's out of Poland. Let's take a look at her resume first. What's up, UFO? Getting out of the American top team. 1 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 11 decisions, 8-7 in the UFC, 5-0 in KSW, 1-0 in Invicta. She pieced up Vanssa Demopoulos. Like, absolutely destroyed her in her last fight. It was a beautiful performance. Beat Silvana Gomez Juarez and beat Felice Herrig in her resurgence. Before then, was not looking good. Look at the names. I mean, she lost to Michelle Waterson Gomez. That's probably the worst one on there. Just Companion, not the best either. But Jan, no shame in losing. Rosa, the champion. Jessica Andrade, former champion. Again, this fight really impressed me. But at the end of the day, Vanessa could just be that bad. Looking at her opponent, though, Diana Belbiţă, 15-7, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's coming off a win. Oh, yeah, she's fighting out of Stony Creek. Shout out Stony Creek. 10 years younger. 6 KO, TKOs. Damn. 4 submissions, 5 decisions. She's 2-3 in the UFC and 1-1 in KSW. It's 2 former KSW fighters going at it here. Yeah. Narrowly beat Maria Oliveira, who ain't that great. Lost to Gloria De Paula. Beat Hannah Goldie. Lost to Molly McCann. All right, I'm done. Yeah, I'm picking Karolina. I honestly I didn't have an official pick yet. That's it. No, I did. I saw early. You lose to Molly McCann. I ain't picking you. I don't care if you're 10 years younger than your opponent. I ain't picking you, okay? No, I'm going with Karolina Kowalkiewicz, minus 190. I think her confidence is back. She's got some momentum. She is a great striker. Look at those beautiful eyes. That has nothing to do with why I'm picking her. Just, damn, son. Nasty combo strikes. And she can be a brawler. She can drag a fight into deep water. And she doesn't get knocked out that easy. Now, mind you, most of these women don't. But still. And, I mean, look at Belbiţă. Oliveira's meh. Hannah Goldie, meh. She lost to Molly McCann. I'm not going to drop my mic, so I'll drop my pen. Enough said. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is taking this one. Oh, appreciate you all, Jays. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, we'll get back to the comments right after this next rundown. Here we have Philipe Lins against Ion Cutelaba. I can't believe he's not even 30 yet, by the way. He's been in the UFC for what? Almost 10 years? He must have joined like 2017, 18? No, 15. Because I said 10 years. Anyways, we'll check it out. I just feel like Ion Cutelaba's been around forever. Anyways, he's up against Philipe Lins Monstro. I thought it was Monstoro, but Monstro. 17-5 as a pro. He's plus 125. He is the slight underdog. What's up, Voidbait? Like I said, guys, we'll get back to the comments here in a sec. We'll go back and forth for a little bit here. Just want to get a chunk of these done. For those who are rewatching, right? Or who are watching after this is posted. 38 years of age at light heavyweight. Plus 125, like I said. He's on a 3-fight win streak. 3-2 in his last 5. 17-5 as a pro. He's at American top team. 9 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, 4 decisions. 3-3 in Bellator. 3-2 in the UFC. 4-0 in the PFL. If I'm not mistaken, did he not win the PFL? Beat Maxime Grishin in his last fight. Boring-ass decision. Yeah, he knocked out Vincent Prue. An old Ovis St. Preux. Big whoop. A good finish, but big whoop. Unanimous decision to Marcin Prachnio. Lost to Tanner Boser. Lost to Arlovsky. Again, some good wins in the PFL. I'll give him that, man. I'll give him that. But he's just boring. Ever since he's been in the UFC, he's just been boring. And I want to see more of him because I know he's got that knockout power. I know he's got some hands, dude, but he's been winning fights, just pinning guys up against the cage, it seems like, in the UFC, other than the OSP win. He's going up against Ion Cutelaba, the Hulk. 17-9-1 for Cutelaba. Cutelaba is the kind of guy who he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna go ham in the first round. If he knocks or he's gonna get the win, he's gonna live or die in that first round. He's either gonna get the win in the first round by knocking you out or finishing you. He's gonna either get finished himself or he's going to gas. He's out of Moldova. He's been fighting out of Extreme Couture out of Las Vegas. 2 and 3, like I said, in his last 5 fights. He was on a 3-fight losing streak before getting his last win. 13 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 2 decisions, 6-8-1 in the UFC, and he fought in WWFC before. Then he beat Tanner Boser in his last fight in the first round. Ground and pound. Before then, lost to Nchuku, lost to Johnny Walker, lost to Ryan Spann. Beat Devin Clark, but I mean, that's a win that you should get if you even want to knock on, the top 15's door. Lost to Ankalaev, which honestly, I think Ankalaev is a little overrated, but it's not the worst loss given that he only had 1 loss at that time. He lost him 2 times in a row. He beat Cleo Roundtree. I mean, he's a fun fighter, and I always try to root for Ion Cutelaba, but because I'm rooting for him, doesn't mean that he's going to influence that's not going to influence my pick, but I am going to go with Ion Cutelaba. Minus 150. I hate this one, by the way. I hate this one because, to make a prediction, to make a pick, I'm not betting on this one. I'm staying clear of this one in the betting lines. Because this one just sucks to pick. Yeah, like I said, Cutelaba, he lives and dies in that first round. He either finishes his opponent, gets finished, or gasses in the first round. He's still only 29, but has a lot of miles on him. Philipe Lins, man, just so boring. So a judge's darling, I guess. Saul Diamato darling. I mean, he may as well be Dagestani. I know he's Brazilian, but I mean, look at him. He may as well be Dagestani. Looked great in the PFL, the Pacifist Fighters League, the Positive Fighters League, whatever you want to call it. He's been boring in the UFC. The Hulk finishes this in the first round. Let's go, baby. All right, back to the comments we go. Sorry, guys. I haven't been neglecting you, but I got to get through a chunk of these for those who watch this video after. Fury can't afford to dance with Francis. His power will be a game changer if Tyson doesn't take him seriously. I think Mendonça gets a KO. Maness cutting to 125 for me is wild. He looks generally sick at 125. Don't understand the move from him. Plus, I feel like Maness is just slow, man. He does have power, but again, maybe moving down, he doesn't. Mendonça is insanely explosive too. He's a lot quicker than Maness, dude. Mendonça's so good. Jack Johnson's good to see you, by the way. It sucks that Maness did nothing but survive against Umar. Bobby Green got KO'd by Drew Dober. I know, so sad. You should give a parlay to afford channel membership. I'll give you my DGen parlay at the end of the video. Thoughts on Ajay's claiming to be 6'2", but it's actually 5'5". You get out of here with that. I could potentially be 6'4". He'd be 6'8". Appreciate you, buddy. Voidmate's good to see you. Ion is such a legend. Win or lose the UFC, have to keep this man around. Yeah. Why don't the Russian women dominate like Russian men? Culture difference? Different sports, I think. I think more Russian women athletes are focusing on winter sports and or basketball, if I'm not mistaken. What's up, Hockey from Home? I like Monstro against him. Yeah, Ryan, this one's it's good to see you, Ryan. This one's just hard to pick. I mean, God, like I just think Ion Cutelaba is going to play his game, employ his style, which is absolutely try to finish it in the first round. If he doesn't, then Linz is going to win. You don't get extra points for being a 40-year-old OSP. Inch taller, further reach, and he's got a better record. Oh, Ryan, I think overall, like, he is the better fighter, and he could 100% get those underhooks on Ion Cutelaba and just land pillow shots up against the cage for 3 rounds and win another fight in the UFC. And he's probably going to do that. But for some, like I said, I think Ion's going to go nuts in the first round. I think he catches him. I don't think he's going to squeak it. I think it's going to be 100% he clinched with the guy the entire time, or it's going to be a first round finish for Ion Cutelaba. I don't think there's any in between. Does Linz have the cardio? That's what this fight boils down to. Again, when you're just pinning someone up against the cage, you're going to have more cardio than that of a Ion Cutelaba. UFO, thanks for joining, buddy. I'm actually really short. Like I'm like 5'8". I'm as average height as it gets. I'm sure Mike Brown has him in shape, but at the same time, Ion is a wild card. Because I don't think the reach or anything matters in this fight at all. It matters in the first round. Ion's going to run into the pocket, and he's going to try to end this quick. And like I said, if Lynn survives the first round, he's going to win this fight. Cutelaba is the pick. It's a sketchy fight to make, but Philipe got absolutely smoked by Tanner Boser. Oh, that sort of explains what happened to Bobby Green after the suspension. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've never been out of my entire friend group. I've never been the tall one. I've always been the short one. Actually, I haven't always been the shortest one, but I've always been like in that category. Which I got all of like my mom's side of the family genes, because my dad's side of the family, they're tall. 5'8" inch short brother, 1 inch below average. My best friend's 5'3". Like, so yeah, I have some friends who are like 5'5", 5'4". And just like their dad and that side of the family were like super short as well. But they're famous now. They're in movies and TV and things like that. But anyways, not because of their height. I shouldn't have painted in that picture. They're like performing artists, actors, music video dancers, things like that. Mostly acting, though. Mostly acting. Anyways, let's get this train back on the track here, guys. Again, keep the comments coming. I'm 5'8". My best friend is 6'9". Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, foul one. So, okay, here's something quick before we get to the rest of the fights. And again, if you guys are just tuning in just to watch or just to hear the breakdowns, I will timestamp these for you once the video is posted after the stream, so you can just take a look at the breakdowns. But get this, so on my dad's side of the family, foul. My dad's Persian, for those who don't know, and he's one of 9. On his side of the family, my family. So it's his kids are obviously myself and my sisters, and his oldest and his oldest sister, the oldest sister of the family. Her kids and his kids, us, we're the only half Persians out of his entire family. The rest, even though most of them, 90% of them came to the United States or Canada, escaped the revolution. Most of them like just found another Persian partner, husband, wife. We're half white and naturally very short. My cousins on Auntie Farah's side, they're half black, and their dad was like 7'3". So they are huge. The shortest one is 6'8". The tallest one is 7'4". The 7'4" one actually played for Cincinnati in the NCAA, and then he was in the same like McDonald's, rookie camp as LeBron James. Went, I think, had a training camp with the Bulls, did their summer camp. Didn't get a deal, and then went and signed in Dubai and made some real money. Made some NBA money in Dubai. I'm 7'6". I'm 500 pounds, pure muscle, and I'm really fast. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Speaking of a muscle shark, not talking about Sean Shirk. Alexander Hernandez, always in crazy shape, but he's a tough one to pick in a prediction. And if you're betting on mixed martial arts, because he's a pretty hit and miss guy as well. It's like whenever he takes a step up in competition, he gets burned. And I feel like this is a pretty big step up in competition against a beauty that is Bill Algeo. That's right. Bill Algeo against Alexander Hernandez is next. Don't let his record fool you. 17-7. Bill Algeo, he's damn good. He's damn good. Senor Perfecto. Some might say he's perfect. I ain't saying that, but I'm saying he's very good. He's the favorite at minus 140. 34 years of age. 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Let's take a look at his resume. Oh, come on. I feel like Typology is getting worse with their ads here, boys. 4 KO, TKO, 7 submission, 6 decision. Very well rounded. And he's an OG, man. He fought in the World Series of Fighting, the former PFL. Lost in Contender Series, but ended up in the UFC. 4-3 in the UFC. Beat TJ Brown. Lost to Andre Philipe. Beat Herbert Burns. Anderson Brito. Oh, yeah. Spike Carlisle has been everywhere. Bellator, UFC. Just recently fought in Ryzen. Hasn't beaten the best opponents. I'm not gonna lie, but has looked good in every single one of his fights. And I mean, split decision against Andre Philipe. That one could have gone either way. I think I gave that one to Philipe personally, but that was a good fight actually. That was a good fight. I like Algeo. Hernandez, man, tough as nails. Very, very good wrestler and super explosive early in the fights. Anyways. Plus 120, he's the underdog, but it is close. He's already 31 years old. That's crazy, man. Time's flying. And this one is being fought at... Is it being fought at featherweight? So Alex Hernandez is fighting at featherweight again. I mean, man. Because he was a pretty jacked up lightweight. He's at a Factory X. 6 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 6 decisions, 6-5 in the UFC. 1-0 in LFA. He beat Jim Miller in his last fight, but he didn't dominate Jim Miller in his last fight. And that's important. Now, I'm giving a lot of credit to Jim Miller because Jim Miller's actually still looks good at this stage in his career. And Jim Miller is impossible to put out. Look, if Alexander Hernandez wants to make a real run at this, he's got to dominate those guys. And maybe Jim Miller's just that good at his age that it's going to be tough for anyone to dominate him. And I don't want to take that away from Jim Miller. But Jim Miller didn't look bad in that fight. Didn't look bad. Lost to Billy Quarantillo. Lost to Money Moicano. Beat Mike Breeden. Lost to Moises. Beat old Trinaldo. He did beat Olivier Aubert-Mercier. But I think if OAM fought him today, he'd probably beat him. I think this is a good, as far as like the matchmaking goes, I think this is a good matchup for both of them. But I think Bill Algeo is just, he's unassumingly good, and I'm going to pick him to win. He's unassumingly good. Did I even write any notes on this one? Oh, yes, I did. I don't trust Hernandez. Yeah, he's got power. Yeah, he's tough. And he's explosive, but he always gasses. He always gasses halfway through the fight, man. He makes silly mistakes too. Bill Algeo's never been KO'd, only been subbed twice. I don't think Alexander Hernandez is going to sub him. He's well-rounded, and he's tricky. What's up, Phony? Great to see you. All right, moving up the card here. Almost the weekend, Phony. Glory's back. UFC's back. It's going to be awesome. All right. We have Drew Dober, the Giga Chad himself, going up against Ricky Glenn. And I think this is the biggest favorite on the card. That is Drew Dober. 26-12 as a pro, going up against Ricky Glenn, 22-7-2. Drew Dober, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He lost and got put out by Steamroller. In his last fight, was on a 3-fight win streak before that. Let's take a look at his resume. 10 KO TKO, 9 submissions, 7 decisions. He's 12-8-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in Bellator. He said lost to Frivola, beat Bobby Green, beat Rafael Alves. He knocked out Bobby Green. Oh yeah, and he dropped and beat Alves via body shot. Kneed Terrence McKinney to 3 finishes in a row before being put out by Frivola. Lost to Brad Riddell. That was actually a really good fight. Lost Islam Makhachev. Beat Alexander Hernandez. Hakparas. He's got some damn good wins on his resume, and he's always involved in an exciting fight. His wrestling isn't too bad either. His counter wrestling, anyways, as he was able, I remember, to defend some decent takedowns against Benil Dariush. And I mean, he went to the 3rd round with Makhachev. Something even Charles Oliveira couldn't do. Come on.
Emotional damage.
Ricky Glenn, 22-7-2. We'll call it 2-2 in his last 4. Was this one a draw or something? He's out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so he is close to home. 34 years of age, but definitely has more miles on him. He looked so bad in his last fight, dude. He looked like a 42-year-old man, not of the Teixeira variety in his last fight. 11 KO TKO, 5 submissions, 6 decisions, decorated statistics there. 4-1 in the UFC. 4-1 the World Series of Fighting. Been around for a while. Oh man, he got absolutely destroyed in this one. Absolutely destroyed. Beat Joaquin Silva, lost to Kevin Aguilar, beat Dennis Bermudez. I mean, he just hasn't been active either. I mean, Dennis Bermudez was in 2018. So he took quite a bit of time off, came back, got a win, draw against Grant Dawson, and then looked so bad. I know Grant Dawson took him to a draw, but Grant Dawson hadn't evolved yet. Grant Dawson is getting better every fight, seemingly. Even though I don't see what everyone else sees. People think he's going to be a champion in this division. Anyways. Look, man, he's had a good career. He's been involved in some good fights. He's put together some good win streaks, but maybe last fight was a one-off, but it looked like Father Time just caught up to him in his last one. I don't even think the betting odds are disrespecting him too much compared to, or based on, I should say, his last fight. Crazy that it's plus 360. Crazy that it's minus 470. I don't think it's that bad. I'm going with Drew Dober. He's going to smoke him. He's going to smoke him. Ricky Glenn looks so bad in his last fight. He's had a fine career. Huge decline in seemingly, one fight. But it was again, maybe it was a one-off. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Dober coming off a loss himself on getting knocked out, but it has decent takedown defense. He has a better chin despite it being cracked. So maybe it's gotten worse, but historically he's had a better chin, better power, better overall. He does everything better.
Exactly that.
Drew Dober's my pick. All right, moving up the card. We'll get back to the comments after this one, guys. Alex Morono against Joaquin Buckley. Now, I'm very excited for this one. Joaquin Buckley, flashy, good striker. Morono for me is kind of like Jung Young Park. Like, he's not great in any category, but he's not bad in any category either. It's like he's just a solid good in every category. And I mean, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, and his loss there, he was having the better second. He was having the better first and second round. He took that fight on short notice. All right. The Great White, Alex Morono, 23-8, 4-1 his last 5 fights, and he's plus 165. 33 years old, fighting out of Houston. 23 wins, 8 losses. Trains out of Fortis MMA and Gracie Barra. The Woodlands. 6 KO, TKO, 7 submissions, 9 decisions. You can see it there. His record's well-rounded. 12-5-1 in the UFC, 7-2 in Legacy, 2-1 in Fury. He had a great win against Tim Means. And so the loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio. He won the first and second round. And he took that fight on 1 week's notice. 5 days notice, if I'm not mistaken. Before them was on a 4-fight win streak. Now, against the best guys, no, but hey, a win streak's a win streak. He's one of those guys like who's one of the better fighters outside the top 15. And he might never get in the top 15, but he's still fun to watch. His opponent, though, who can put together some great highlights at times, or is he just a highlight type of guy? Is this going to be like Uriah Hall? Yet to be seen. He has to put together some good wins here, though, for me to be sold. That's right. Joaquin Buckley, 16-6. He is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Broke his 2-fight losing streak with a win in his last one. He's the favorite at -200. He's 29 years old out of St. Louis. And he's moved down in weight, if I'm not mistaken. Down to welterweight. 12 KO, TKO, 0 submissions, 4 decisions. He's got knocked out 4 times. Never been submitted. Never submitted his opponent. Lost twice via decision. Won 4 times via decision. 6-4. He's already at 6-4, man. Damn. 6-4 in the UFC. 3-2 in Belbiţă. He's been active in 3 years. Damn. Respect Joaquin Buckley. 3-2 in Bellator. 2-0 in the LFA. A good win against Andre Fialho in his last fight, but I mean, everyone's been knocking out Andre Fialho, let's be honest. Lost Chris Curtis, lost Nazardine Mavov. A good win against Duraev. Good win against Abdul Razak Alhassan. By the way, absolutely love Alhassan's press conferences, guys. If you like, you don't even need to watch him fight to be a fan of his, honestly. Beat him split decision, beat Arroyo. Decent resume for a younger guy in the UFC. I know he has nasting finishing ability, okay? I know that. But Alex Morono is the best freaking underdog on this card, ladies and gentlemen. Locking it in, baby. Locking it in. Let's go. Like I said, one of the better welterweights outside the top 15 at plus, 165. Sign me up. I did the comparison to Jung Park. Not necessarily like stylistically, but being good everywhere. And not being great in any particular category. He's light on his feet, despite more of his doughy frame. Good hands, great scrambles. Does leave his chin exposed at times. He gets a little too comfortable just with his guard too dropping or just kind of going too karate for my liking. Despite not being a karate guy. First and foremost, anyways. Yeah, Joaquin Buckley, I look, all due respect, we just went through his resume. He's a solid UFC fighter. I do think he's overhyped. I think he's got a little bit of that like Uriah Hall effect where what have you done other than that that can get my attention? You know what I mean? Look, like I said, he's good. He's good. Rightfully the favorite as well. But I like Morono as the underdog. I think Morono has better technique. And yeah, I'm going to pick him because I would have picked him anyways, even if he was the favorite, but the underdog seals it for me. All right, back to the comments we go. What is up, Jelani? One of our exclusive members. How's it going, buddy? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. There's like some crazy stat that 20% of Americans over 7 foot play in the NBA. Damn. This is going to be a great scrap. Bill Algeo by 3-round TKO for me. 3rd round TKO. Yeah, it's now there's pop-ups, it's all jumpy. Hernandez is dumb to go back to 145. Gasses out in the second round every single time. Man, he gassed out at 155 too. Phony, it's great to see you, buddy. How's your week going? Bro, when you said PFL is the positive fighters league, I laughed my ass off. Dude, they're the pacifist league because they refuse to be real MMA. They refuse to employ elbows. And they're the positive league because half the fighters that I actually gave a shit about to watch this season, they gone. How's Dober's chin after finally getting cracked? We don't know. We'll see. Dawson was still with James Krause against Glenn. Evolved a lot since. I mean, James Krause was a good coach. Give me a $5 parlay. Morono's striking is so unique. I still remember when he staunched an old cowboy. Bucky looked a bit awkward against Fialho, maybe hesitant after the Curtis fight. Again, like, I just don't, I just, Buckley's good. I just don't see, like, if anything, I'm more impressed with Morono's technique than that of Buckley. I think Buckley will be a solid gatekeeper man inside the top 15. Well, I mean, Morono too, no? Because Morono's not ranked, right? Oh, he's 33rd. But this is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a good fight as well. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I don't think it goes to the ground. I think this one stays on the feet. Buckley always calling dudes out only to come up with excuses why he can't, right? Right? Guys, don't forget to smash that like button and stay tuned to the end of the video. We're almost there. We have, what, 2 more fights to highlight, to predict, and then I'm going to give you guys the City Life Project Degenerate Parlay of the Week, brought to you by our good friend Vulcan. All right. People overhype too much after that KO. His kryptonite or head kicks. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, same with Uriah Hall. And again, Buckley showed me one nasty knockout. Uriah Hall, every finish on the Ultimate Fighter season, every single one, all 3 were nasty. Like, they almost killed their opponent every single time. Those shots almost killed his opponent every single time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Co-main event of the evening. Man, I was bummed that Gutierrez fight got pulled from this card. Co-main event of the evening. Joe Pyfer. Be like Joe Pyfer. Up against Abdul Razak Alhassan. And again, by the way, if you are not a fan of Abdul Razak Alhassan, if you're just unfamiliar with him or only familiar with him as a fighter, please go check out his last press conference, his last post-fight press conference after his last fight, and check out his pre-fight press conference going into this one. I guarantee you, his pre-fight one going into this one wasn't as entertaining. His last post one, you will laugh your ass off. He is a character. I love that man. He's hilarious. Win or lose, I will always be a fan of Alhassan. I never even have to watch him fight to be a fan of him. He is a character behind the mic. He's crazy, man. He's got those crazy eyes. He stares into your soul. Anyways, Joe Pyfer, body bags with a Z. 11-2 as a pro. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He is on a win streak, ladies and gentlemen. 20, and he's only 27. He's only 27. Dude, I am super high on Joe Pyfer. And this might be a hot take. I am more, or maybe it's a dumb take. I'm more high on Joe Pyfer than I am Bo Nickel in the UFC. I really am. 12-5 for Abdul Razak Alhassan. All right, Joe Pyfer, let's take a look at his resume here. Out of Pennsylvania, shout out to him. 8 KO TKO, 2 submissions, 1 decision. 2-0 in the UFC, 1-1 off Contender Series. Be like Joe Pyfer. Beat Gerald Meerschaert in a grappling match. Tuned him up in a grappling match after beating him via right cross and knocking him out in the first round. He dominated a big boy in Eric Anders. Anders at Fear Pro Grappling 6. Beat 8-3 guys, 7-1 in his last 2 fights in the UFC and Contender Series. Beat 3-0 guy in Cage Fury. Lost to Dustin Stolfus on Contender Series his first time. No shame in that. Came back and absolutely dominated. And an Art of War, CES, Cage Fury, Ring of... I mean, he's fought good promotions too, man. He's fought in good regional shows. I love Joe Pyfer. Great gym that he trains out of as well. And he's a massive middleweight. He is huge. Judo Thunder, though. Abdul Razak Alhassan. This guy likes to stand and bang, man. This guy likes to throw them hands. 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but he is coming off a win. He is out of Ghana, but training out of Arlington, Texas. 38 years of age. Coming off a win, he's plus 300. Training out of Fortis MMA primarily. 12 KO TKO, 0 submission, wins or losses, 4 decision losses. He's 6-5 in the UFC, and he's 2-0 in Bellator. Knocked out Claudio Ribeiro, lost split decision to Joaquin. Buckley, beat Alessio De Chirico via head kick in the first round. That was a nice win. I think that was what, no, that didn't retire Chirico. I think he lost another one after that. Lost to Malkoun, lost to Chaos Williams, lost to Munir Lazez. Those are 3 fights you definitely want back in the UFC. Beat Nico Price, Homasi. Twice he beat Homasi. Hey, not a bad resume. Not the best. Not the worst. I'm just trying to see here. I mean, his last wins have all been KO TKOs. He's got good power, but I think Pyfer has... I think Pyfer's just... He's stronger. I think he's got more power. This is one of those that I don't think is getting out of the first round, guys. I think these guys... Like, I don't think this goes to the ground at all. If it does, I think Pyfer does have the edge there because I think he is more well-rounded despite being not as experienced, hasn't been in the game as long. However, I think they just stand in the pocket and the first one to go down loses, you know? And I think Abdul Razak Alhassan is going to go down. I think Joe Pyfer will be able to take just a few more shots from Razak Alhassan than what he can dish out on Joe Pyfer, or than what Joe Pyfer can dish out on him. I think Alhassan will be able to land a few on Pyfer, and Pyfer will be able to take it. I don't think he'll be able to take some of the big shots from Pyfer. I think he'll go down first. I think this is going to be a firefight. I think one of them drops in the first round, and I think it will be Alhassan. I'm going for be like Joe Pyfer. I love Alhassan, most because of his press conferences, but he's going to lose. Someone's getting KO'd, like I said, and maybe because of that factor, maybe this one from like a strategic betting perspective, maybe like a half unit or a little sum on Alhassan, because there's just... You never know. You got a puncher's chance especially if your primary tool is your knockout power, your striking. Maybe you want to sprinkle a little bit on that plus 300, but I'm personally staying away. Yeah, Pyfer's so strong. He's got good grappling. His striking's good, not great, but he's just got so much power. Disciplined in training. As you can see, he's been really active. He has a great team. Both of them are dangerous. This should be a fun fight. And like I said, Pyfer way younger than him as well. 11 years younger than him. All right, before we get back to your comments, guys, main event of the evening, let's dive in, and then we'll hang out in the live chat with you guys until it dries up. Grant Dawson against Bobby King Green, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, Bobby Green was just a guest. He just sat down with Rampage Jackson on Rampage Jackson's podcast. Is it Fading Out? Is that the name of the podcast? It's on the Jackson Network on YouTube. It's my new favorite MMA podcast. I refresh that channel every day to try to find more. All right, Grant Dawson up against Bobby King Green in this main event lightweight fight. Grant KGD Dawson, 20 wins, 1 loss. One, was it draw? We'll take a look at that. Oh, yes, it was draw. It was a draw. We talked about that earlier. 4-1, so I should say. Or 4 and draw in his last 5 fights. Only 1 loss in his career. He's a pretty big favorite as well. Minus 395. He's training out of Coconut Creek, Florida, part of that American top team. He's 29 years old. Now, he's featured as an opponent, or as a past opponent on a few of these guys' resumes that we've gone through here in this rundown. 4 KO TKO, 13 submissions, 3 decisions. He's a very talented wrestler. 8-0 and 1 draw in the UFC. He's coming off Contender Series. This was the one that surprised me the most. I did not think he was going to make relative easy work of Ismagulov. Now, he did take him to a decision, but I thought Ismagulov was going to win and really dominate him in that fight, to be perfectly honest. But no, great leveling up there to get that win against Ismagulov. Good win against Mark Madsen. Good win against Jared Gordon as well. And again, man, like he's on a hell of a streak. He's definitely those guys. He's definitely one of those guys where, like, if he's forced to stand and bang, I don't know if I'm confident with him if it's just a firefight. And Bobby Green is a wrestler. He was a wrestler first, hood style MMA fighter second. I love back in the day when Strikeforce asked him, "What style MMA are you?" And he just said, or what style martial art are you? And he said, "Hood style." Bobby King Green. But having said that he has a wrestling background, that's not to suggest that he's going to be doing the wrestling. Like, it might help him in the counter wrestling department, because you gotta imagine that Bobby Green's game plan is stuff the takedowns and keep this on the feet, force him to stand and bang with me. And Grant Dawson, if he lands a couple shots, you might be like, all right, this 37-year-old keeping his hands down the whole time, I can tag him, especially if I move side to side on the outside. I mean, that's what Jared Gordon was doing to Bobby Green. If you march forward at Bobby Green, you will probably lose. But if you, I don't want to say fight on the back foot, but fight side to side, light footwork there, and kind of do what Bobby does a little bit, a little taste of his own medicine. It's tougher for him than if you just meet him in the pocket and or charge him, because Bobby's good on the back foot as well, given his weird Bobby Green hood karate style. 30, 14, and 1. Only 2 wins in his last 5 fights, 2 losses, and 1 no contest. 37. King Green's 37 years old now, man. That's crazy. He's a pretty big underdog at plus 280. 30, 14, and 1. One of the OGs, man. 10 KO, TKO, 9 submissions, 11 decisions, 11 wins in the UFC, 9 loss, 1 draw, 1 no contest, 4-1 in Strikeforce. He even fought in Affliction, man. Submitted Tony Ferguson in his last fight. No contest against Jared Gordon due to that headbutt. Now, he talked about it on Rampage's podcast, how he noticed that Jared Gordon kept going a little lower in his takedowns and how he wanted to employ a counter elbow. But he's like, I never practiced that move ever. I was like doing it live, like there employing it. And he ducked his head down when he wanted to lay the elbow. And that was why there was a clash of heads. Lost to Drew Dober. That was a fun fight for how far it lasted. It was for as long as it lasted. Lost to Makhachev on short notice. Good win against Haqparast. Good win against Raging Ally Quenta. Great fight against Fiziev. And Fiziev didn't put him out. And I think I know this was in 2021. I thought it was 2019. I thought I was going to say 2019, 2018, but no, it's only 2021. This was an awesome fight. Now, Fiziev, in my opinion, beat him. But the fact that he went 3 rounds with him and they just scrapped. Like, Bobby Green said that this is one of his favorite fights, win or lose, in the last couple of years, because the guy just wanted to stand there and bang with him. The guy wanted to stand there and put on a show. And Bobby Green likes to put on a show. Bobby Green doesn't like to wrestle. So Bobby Green's probably not going to like this next fight, because I do think Grant Dawson is going to try to wrestle him. I think Grant Dawson is going to try to submit him. I think Grant Dawson is going to try to out-control him. He's going to get him up against the cage. He's going to drag him down. He's going to try to get into back mount and or maybe set up an arm triangle or something in that regard, I think. Bobby Green is a good scrambler, though, but God damn it. I'm rooting for Bobby Green. I want Bobby Green to win. I don't see what you all see in Grant Dawson, but I do think he's going to win. I hope Bobby just cracks him, though. I really do. I think Bobby's going to stuff some of the takedowns. Bobby is going to want him to be in his face. Bobby's always in your face anyways. He can wrestle, but again, I don't think against Grant Dawson he'll be able to do anything but counter wrestle. Grant Dawson has good striking, especially, like I said, when he's moving side to side or even moving on the back foot. Dawson is path to victory, submitting Green or winning a unanimous decision based on just those short shots, ground and pound. Short shots with the control time, ground and pound. If this goes a decision, though, and it stays on the feet, I think Bobby Green, he could maybe get 2 rounds. If it primarily stays on the feet, I think there's a possibility that Bobby Green snakes out 2 rounds. But I think just the pressure from Dawson is like the relentless pressure, not in the striking department, but relentless pace and pressure is just going to be too much. It's Bobby Green, though. He's a seasoned veteran who understands wrestling, whether And when I say wires crossed, I don't mean in the same sense as like hockey players wires crossing. I mean in the same sense as like him just sticking to a game plan. There's a possibility, but at 37, from what we've seen of him just wanting to scrap, or what we've seen of him not boding well against wrestlers as of late at this stage in his career, the up-and-coming younger wrestlers anyways, I have to imagine that Grant Dawson is just going to get the better of him, either submit him or beat him unanimous decision with those short shots on the ground, short shots in the clinch, but really with just the control time and ultimately that aspect of the game. If it stays on the feet, if somehow Bobby Green can really force this on the feet for even just 2 of the 3 rounds, there's a possibility that he wins, but I'm going with Grant Dawson, like I said. What's up, West Coast? I'm going King. Dude, I'm rooting for the Kings. I'm rooting for him. Again, like, Grant Dawson's good. Look at his record. Look at his resume. I just don't see that what most people, I shouldn't say everyone, what most people see in him in that they're saying he's going to be a champion. I haven't seen that yet. Okay, before we announce our degenerate parlay of the week, brought to you by our friend Volcan, let's quickly catch up on some of the comments here. Moreno's well-rounded. Abdul's a big underdog, man. You think it's deserved. He's pretty one-dimensional in MMA. Abdul, yeah. I mean, again, I think Joe Pyfer's just that much better. I think that one's fine. Abdul hunts for the KO punch. Yeah, he doesn't really do anything else. I'm going to say it. I rewatched Abdul versus Chaos, and it was a brutal KO. It's crazy how Abdul was still sleeping in the cage when Chaos was walking out, man. Yeah, that was some, like, rising-ass shit there. Dana bought B like Joe a house when UFC signed him. Yeah, because he was pretty much homeless, right? He was sleeping on, like, his friend's couch. Be like Joe Pyfer. Oh, dude, you should check out his podcast. It's awesome. It's awesome. I see Green piecing up Dawson until Dawson gets that one takedown, which changes the whole fight. Yeah, man, that could honestly be the case. What I'm scared of is that Grant Dawson's watched some of that. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but watch some of that tape with the Jared Gordon Bobby Green fight, because somehow, some way, Jared Gordon was getting the better of Bobby Green in the first round. Don't tell JL. Don't tell JL. West Coast, by the way, great to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for dropping in. All right, before we hang up the gloves on this predictions video here, and again, thank you to everyone who joined us live. For those who are just sifting through, for those who just stopped in at the end here, I will be putting timestamps in the description, and I will comment the timestamps on this video, so you don't have to listen to all the banter back and forth in the live chat here, unless you want to. You can just click on the timestamp and hear my breakdown, my opinions, my picks for the week. And speaking of pick, the City Life Project Degenerate Parlay of the Week, brought to you by friend Volcan. You guys ready for it? Drum roll, please. I don't even have a drum roll on this sound pad here. We're going Ricky Glenn.
Oh my God.
Abdul Razak Alhassan.
Oh my God.
And Bobby King Green. If that's not a degenerate pick of the week or parlay of the week, I don't know what is. The crazy thing is, like, I'm more confident in this one than any of the others in weeks past. That is it for the predictions video here today, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. You all are amazing. West Coast, AJ's MMA. Guys, go subscribe to AJ's MMA's YouTube channel. He does breakdowns and MMA content as well. King James, Gino, Phony Turgeson, one of our exclusive members, Foul One, Shane Van Nice as well. Ryan McKenzie, UFO, Voidmate, Hockey from Home, Matt X, Jack Johnson, AJ. Thank you all so much for joining. Oh, Dana rented Joe a house for a year. Didn't buy him one. Still a good dude. Peace out, West Coast. I will see you guys this weekend for a ton of fight companions, and we have a few videos dropping tonight, tomorrow, and the next day. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you folks on the next one. Peace.